Welcome to Unlimited Visions. Explore the intriguing realm of pre-literary history with us. Our channel is devoted to revealing the legends of the early human civilizations, oral traditions, and ancient civilizations. Join us as we explore the stories that impacted our world before the written word, from the beginning of language to the birth of early societies. Prehistory, commonly referred to as pre-literary history, is the portion of human history that occurs between the creation of writing systems and the first documented usage of stone tools by hominins approximately 3.3 million years ago. Although people have used symbols, signs, and images since very early times, the earliest writing systems are thought to have originated about 5,200 years ago. Writing systems were not widely used for thousands of years, and by the 19th century, writing had become a part of nearly every society. Prehistory ended at different dates and places for this reason. As a result, the word is less frequently employed when discussing communities whose prehistory ended very recently. The earliest civilizations to create their own scripts and preserve historical documents were Sumer in Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley Civilization, and ancient Egypt. Their neighbors soon followed. The Iron Age that followed marked the end of prehistory for the majority of other civilizations. For most of Eurasia and North Africa, the division of prehistory into the Stone, Bronze, and Iron Ages is still in use. However, it is not as common in regions like Oceania, Australasia, much of sub-Saharan Africa, and the Americas, where the working of hard metals came about suddenly as a result of contact with Eurasian cultures. With a few exclusions in pre-Columbian civilizations in the Americas, for instance, 1788 is typically seen as the end of Australia's prehistory. These regions did not evolve sophisticated writing systems before to the arrival of Eurasians, therefore their prehistory extends into very recent periods. The term proto-history refers to the time in a culture's history when it has been written about by outsiders but has not yet created its own writing system. Human prehistory is by definition unwritten, and what is known about it comes from physical, archaeological, and anthropological evidence, such as human bones and prehistoric artifacts. These were initially comprehended through the gathering of folk tales and by comparison with contemporary preliterate societies. Dating is a crucial first step in comprehending prehistoric data, and since the 19th century, trustworthy dating methods have gradually improved. The reconstruction of ancient spoken languages has yielded more proof. Forensic chemical analysis is one of the more modern methods for determining the origin and purpose of materials, and genetic examination of bones to establish ancestry and physical traits of ancient populations. Start and finish. The appearance of creatures like humans on Earth is typically considered to signal the start of prehistory. The beginning of the modern recorded historical record is usually cited as the date of its end. Thus, there are significant regional variations in both dates. While the first indications of human habitation in Europe date to approximately 1.3 million years ago, prehistory in Africa and Asia may be traced back to as early as 2.5 and 1.8 million years ago. Respectively, its termination date also fluctuates based on the date pertinent records turn into a valuable scholarly resource. In Egypt, for instance, the end of prehistory is generally accepted to have occurred around 3100 BCE. In New Guinea, on the other hand, the end of the prehistoric era is celebrated much later, in the 1870s. When Russian anthropologist Nikolai Miklukho-Maklay lived among the native peoples for several years and wrote a thorough treatise describing their way of life, the neighboring Etruscan and Celt cultures in Europe were not as well written as the reasonably well-documented classical cultures of ancient Greece and Rome. Historians disagree about how much importance to place on the somewhat skewed depictions of these proto-historic communities found in Greek and Roman literature. Time periods. Historians usually employ the three-age method to categorize human prehistory in Eurasia, while researchers studying pre-human eras usually employ the clearly defined geologic record and its globally recognized strata basis within the geologic timescale. The Stone Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age are the three successive time eras that make up the three-age system, which divides human prehistory into these periods based on the technologies that were most prevalent during each. The Chalcolithic or Copper Age is a transitional period between the Stone and Bronze Ages that exists in some regions. The term's historical, through the efforts of antiquarians who used the term primitive to characterize societies that predated written records. The concept of prehistory developed during the Enlightenment. The Foreign Quarterly Review published the first English-language definition of prehistory in 1836. In the latter part of the 1800s, British, German, and Scandinavian anthropologists, archaeologists, and antiquarians organized the geologic timescale for pre-human eras and the three-age system for human prehistory.